Alright, my name is Rojo, and today we're going to be watching EG versus 100 Thieves um, from 9. But the way I want to watch this one is as fast as possible with no pauses. So, what we're doing is it is going to be at 1.5 times speed. As soon as I press play, I'm not going to pause anymore. I'm going to put my righty tool. Then I'm never going to click off of that. And we just go through the whole game as fast as possible without pausing, without thinking, or at least deeply, and talking about it as quickly as I can. Easy, done. And oh, on the wrong tool. All right, go.
And split push to victory, and eventually had Thieves drop that game. This time around, someday is on the Camille. He gets to slide the split pusher. It is the kind of play style everyone expected
Okay.
out of 100 Thieves all year long.
So we look at this 5-point start. Nothing too crazy. Really important factors. 100 Thieves have the Galio Camille combo, which means that they have pretty heavy dive potential. They have a very strong side lane with the Camille. The Nidalee is a little lost in this for me. Just a carry style jungler, it looks like. Not even necessarily trying to make up for lack of magic damage. I guess Galio eventually lacks magic damage, but I don't know about that. I don't know about using it in this comp. And then the Tom Kench doesn't really seem to have a purpose, given that they want to be aggressive. And Tom Kench doesn't help you be aggressive. I guess you can use it to global ult someone, or to Abyssal Void someone up, and then you can go from there. Also, the Ashe has a global, but again, that's really, you don't necessarily want to use those from a very long range. On the other side, Shen, I honestly think, should have a decent time into Camille. Not the best. Camille usually has a lot of skill matchups, more so than counters. Or at least the counters come in after the lane, they seem to, at least it seems to be the case. The Graves carry jungler, so it matches the Nidalee. I don't know if it's necessarily the best pick because it's actually really low range. You're already seeing Shen, Graves, Corki. Corki's at least got some decent range with some of his abilities, but not necessarily his autos. And then Callista is fairly short range. So there's a lot of short range 380 carries with a Camille and a Galio on the opposing team. So there's a lot of problems with the way that the composition seems to have come up. This is a decent amount of damage, but it was well scouted. The teleports were really good, actually, by mostly because I think that Graves at this point just wants to back. It seemed like what he was doing was he was coming in to just use this time, and then he would back. Perfectly fine timer. Like, he's already channeling, right? But they get the hook, which they didn't need to go for, and then they open themselves up to this, which is actually well scouted. The coordination there is really good, and this is also why you definitely don't want to do that as Graves, because you're going to be potentially behind on tempo if Nidalee actually takes it back and she's not there, or you could get double TP'd on.
Oh wait, I'm on Fountain. I can TP here, and it got them. I think that kill on Graves. I think Sven would have lived without the Camille shots done. So well done, of course, to the 100 Thieves side.
Okay.
To the bottom side. One went on Nidalee, one went on to the Galio.
The last things, the Thresh can provide some safety, but it's not enough for the 3 carries that need all the safety in the world. They're never gonna, and you also, I don't believe you can Lantern out of the Hextech ultimatum, so that's a bit of an issue.
as soon as you can rush to your Runic Echo's completion, Italy gets
Svenskeren is really trying to force. I believe he cleared down. Looks like, yeah. So he's not actually trying to force. Okay. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Contract should absolutely know that Svenskeren is on this side of the map, by the way. Do they just not? I guess it doesn't matter. His team had priority, so he's able to do it just fine. Also, importantly, Someday has the Hextech Ultimatum. Ryoma has the Hero's Entrance. And those cause problems. Someday was also pathing downward. Huni would have been able to teleport with the Stand United, but they have no real in because none of them are able to just like base tank anyone. There's no good target for Shen to ult on. He's literally just ulting to give someone safety, more so than being used as any kind of aggression. Like he's always going to be using it defensively. He never uses Stand United to do anything proactive. Okay, junglers are doing just fine. Svenskeren is a little behind, slightly. I mean, he's going to be just fine with the way the camps are sequenced, and the fact that Contract is up here instead of pathing downward. It looks like he's okay. Getting the flash. I actually don't know if it's possible for Huni to have known that. Huni, by the way, goes for the Bombi Cinder, which makes it fairly difficult to freeze if he can, or to hold the wave at all. So that's going to be a bit of an issue if you're falling behind on a team composition with Corki, who like to slow things down. Yes, you're not as scary without the possibility of taunt flashing when you stand united. I don't know if scaling is even a consideration for either of these teams, frankly. I guess it is. No, it is. It is. Well, a consideration as in for the composition, but is it a consideration for the team? I'm not sure if the team is actually looking to scale. Kalista tells me no, right? But regardless, these two tell me yes. Alright, and then they try to force this. It's extremely disappointing to see that, right? Because you know that they have this wombo combo potential. It's so telegraphed that they could not possibly, they literally could have told you we're going to do that every single play, and it couldn't be more obvious if they told them we're going to do that every time you try to do something. And the problem is also they already have a lead, right? It's nearly a 3k gold lead, and they haven't even used Herald yet. I still don't necessarily like Italy. Italy's fine, I suppose, but there's not. I wonder if there is enough lockdown for Nidalee to be safe. Wait.
He's getting pretty low, but he's got a lot of damage on Huni here as well. There's no ult yet for the Shen. Here comes the TV back in. He's going to try to solo kill Huni. Can he get enough damage? Yeah, he's going to die to turret damage at the end of it all. Someday gets a straight up kill to 1v2, and now a play to the bottom side.
What?
Flash can be played in, though.
I wish I could pause and go back. Oh my gosh, there are so many things. It just was so confusing. They just didn't make any sense. I mean, they're going for a play because they feel like they have to, right? Because they're falling behind. But you could make the argument that they could, if they just play safely, they can be fine. Like, think about this. If they go for no play at the start, right? If he just finishes the channel on his back, the lanes play themselves out. They go okay, right? I honestly feel like this could have been fine without, like, the disparity isn't even that bad. Look, it's no real discrepancy in CS, but 3-0-4 on the Camille. So imagine if they just didn't go for plays. If they didn't go for that early play and let themselves get to where they wanted to be. I understand that they want to get the Kalista strong, but I mean, that's more of a problem with the draft than the mentality that they should have when they have a Corki and they have a Graves. And frankly, a Shen. But Shen is obviously not like some sort of hyper scaling champion. And I mean here, this is the problem with incongruity that I love to talk about constantly. If you have multiple people trying to do different things or different ideas within the composition, you're gonna have times where people are gonna want to make plays and other people don't want to make plays. And when they want to make plays, if the teammates who don't want to make plays are making the plays, then they're forcing more so than they need to. I guess that's fine, but they just lost their inhibitor tower. I mean, why are they dancing between turrets when they could be, I don't know, defending? Benzgaren could be farming on his blue side, which means he would have been able to protect the inhibitor tower. But instead, you see the whole team just coming in. They get 3 kills here, don't they? Yeah. It's not worth it, but they do get 3 kills. Because, I mean, every dragon is now free. 100 Thieves are guaranteed the next 2 dragons because of the lack of inhibitor tower. Because if they ever leave Sunday alone, he's just going to win the game.
But it is Sunday, who is very, very big. He is the gold lead right now, right? You can see this 2,000 gold lead for 100 Thieves. Cody Sun picking up some for himself. That is roughly Sunday's lead over the opponents here. And that is roughly where it sits up right now. As you mentioned, open inhibitor now on the top side. Sunday level 11. About to spot Huni from the brush and goes, yeah, I'll fight you.
And now this is impossible, right? He can't walk up because Someday will just kill him. So the disparity isn't that bad if they're even, but there's such a massive gold difference right now. Gold experience, probably. I actually did not check Shen's level, but I can't imagine he is actually level 12. He actually might be level 12. The CS disparity isn't too big. Or 11. He might be 11. He's 11. Okay. Still, the experience, the gold difference is massive. It's just impossible for this to be real, and then for him to walk up. I mean, it shouldn't be possible for this to be real, but I mean, they had basically the same gold difference 10 minutes ago. So this is not allowed, by the way. We know that the ultimates are down, but that doesn't mean that they're actually able to do this. They can actually get out. They are allowed to get out. Okay, but then that's happening too, right? And wait, did they walk back in? Did EG walk back into them? Because I think they were trying to get to mid lane, but they didn't take into account that they're obviously pushed priorities here, so they can be in this area within the red side, and they can just fight them, or they'll catch them. Okay, cute. I mean, at this point, the game is pretty much impossible, right? 100 Thieves should not have allowed that dragon to go, but they made the choice to take the towers, which is fine. It's a fine choice. But I feel like they could have aggressed onto the dragon position previously to when EG was able to just walk in. Like, I don't understand how EG is able to walk in with a 4K deficit. Also, to be fair, Ryoma should not have used his Hero's entrance. Where's the Grand entrance? I always get the Recon ability and the other thing. He shouldn't have used his ultimate because Someday had Huni dead to rights. And Huni's point is, what is his purpose in this composition? He's literally just there to defend someone, right? I mean, at this point, there's just nothing. No one has actual agency on EG, but when you look at, when you go back, okay, yeah, see, he's just playing defensively. There's never a time when Shen is allowed to do anything aggressively, at least team fight wise, right? He could obviously you could ask someone to like Valkyrie delivery in or something. Or package in, maybe, but that's the best delivery system you've got for Shen.
100 Thieves showing that they can pull off the heist underneath the turrets from EG. You already know how it ends. I had an out-of-body experience. I went to go double
I
check
genuinely believe that if EG choose to just play out the lanes without aggressing, the game could have been even, or they could have been in a winning position. Now, credit to 100 Thieves, I think they reacted really well to that bottom play. That level of coordination is sometimes missed in NA, but it's, which I guess reinforces plays like that, because then you think, oh, well, they're not going to do that, right? They're not going to just double TP on us and kill us. Like, no way.
Is going into playoffs will probably be denied from them, and you have to say, especially that combination with Someday and his Camille, 100 Thieves showing that they can use it to a devastating effect. And I want to say, like, imagine this game without those first, like, 3 really good fights around top river. Like, even with the bot lane TP going 2 for 0 at the very early game, where EG gets up behind, we still saw Bang and Zazel make big plays down.
I don't, what is he doing?
Like, Bang got a 3-1 start in this game. Someday, now very much alone, gonna have a real hard time with this one. He's trying to run away, flash the hook, he's like, yeah, I'll deal some damage. Someday nearly dies, and they find a single
okay.
But this is the split push. When you're on the bottom side, your team is doing something else on the top side. Very early on this game.
They don't have the ability to do anything here. Denying the dragon is okay, and they can just hope that they can't use the Baron, but with the Galio and the Camille, they can just dive any tower, anytime, for any reason. Hell, they don't even need the Camille, frankly, at this point. Camille's just a luxury, who can dive as farther than anyone else on her team. You could easily have Nidalee go in at this point and be just fine. Tahm Kench, by the way, still doesn't have a use. Poom didn't play poorly or anything, but there doesn't seem to be a reason for Tahm Kench to be in this composition. Because it doesn't help anyone actually do anything, and you don't actually need defenses when you're being aggressive. Like if you're actually running away, you're in a bad spot. That's very messy. I mean, look. Imagine the gold lead isn't like 13,000 during this fight. They could have been completely wiped. I think the game's over. Wow.
In, and they are going to take down the Nexus. All right, we've got our 6th and 7th seeds locked in. Evil Geniuses, 8 and 10, 100 Thieves.
Okay. So, in conclusion, if you're EG, you have to recognize what your champions want to do. First of all, you want to make sure that you don't pick a champion that has no actual purpose in the composition. Second, if you have 2 scaling champions in carry positions, you want to make sure that they can actually get to where they are scaled. You also don't want to have to pick champions that have to get in a lead early, because then what you do, the issue is that Kalista doesn't just have a lead, right? If she's neutral, I mean, if she's neutral, then she actually feels bad. Well, not necessarily. Up to a certain point. If she's neutral, she feels okay coming out of lane, and then she is significantly worse than any other AD carry option in the meta right now. In lane, she can actually lane. She can be a bully. She can get a lead for herself, but it's not going to be significant enough on her own to create the lead that she wants to have coming into the early to mid transition, and then going into the mid to potentially late transition. So because of that, because she needs, quote unquote needs, she doesn't, I guess, need, but she would like a lead. When you have this situation, she isn't even a free bridge champion. So even on that notion, which I think is not necessarily good, because it does create incongruities in your composition, as we're seeing here. So even as a bridge champion, she doesn't actually work because she wants a lead. And if she doesn't have a team that can create that lead for her, it's not super great. Because what are the situations where Shen can affect the bottom lane? It's only when the bottom lane is pushed in. So Kalista doesn't have control over the lane, and then she ults Thresh in, and then later on you get a teleporter, you get a Stand United, but then you don't even need the Shen to do that, because any other top laner could have teleported in if they're pushed, right? If the bottom lane is pushed. I honestly think that if Evil Geniuses just play it slower, they could be just fine in this game. Because they need to actually prevent the leads from happening. Into the mid game, these two threats do become problematic. But I think that they are able to decently protect against them because they have Ben, which I guess if he's able to get to where they're going, if they want to actually be neutral in the game, right? If they're neutral in the game, Shen can be used defensively to prevent Camille and Galio from just running over everyone with the Stand United. But there isn't any other defensive options. It honestly feels like EG just ran into this composition and didn't even have an answer at all. They didn't think to safeguard against the combination. They didn't safeguard against the mid game. I mean, it's weird. And then looking at the 100 Thieves side, I don't know what Poom is supposed to be doing. Cody's I guess he's fine with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. I've talked extensively about these two. It's basically all of 100 Thieves plays and their entire composition was based around Neil and Galio. And it honestly just feels like they ran away with the game after the bottom lane play. Because, and I'm going to go back to the one time, they do it during the game, but look at this play. What was the gold lead after this?
The gold for himself.
Okay, it was only 8k.
And
So nothing too major. And then, where does the game run away? Okay, nothing too major yet. So right now the game is okay. 100 or not 100 Thieves. EG could be just fine in this position. Okay. In fact, you could argue that they are potentially capable of. They're in a winning position if everything goes neutral and nothing crazy happens. But then it's the Herald that they greeded for very, very hard. End up losing 3 kills. And then they lose the Herald. So they waste the time of their jungler, who wants to be farming. He's actually behind in farm currently. I mean, if you just look at that. He's behind in farm. Down like what, 3 camps? So behind in farm. You end up giving away 3 kills because Golden Glue came in with package. What should be happening is he uses it to protect and to be like, no, you can't actually dive me. Or if if they aggress onto you, right? If 100 Thieves go into for an invade or they try to dive someone, you can use Corki to protect against it using the package. So I mean, it's these kinds of things that bother me in League of Legends, where it's very clear that yes, 100 Thieves actually they had really good responses, but they didn't do anything proactive to get themselves a lead. They just got a lead because they responded very well, which is good. Responding to the game skate is important, but not when it's an unforced error that the opposing team never had to make in the first place. Okay, I spent too much time after. That was as fast as I can get it. I missed so many things. There's probably so many interesting moments, but overall, I mean, the game ran away. I don't know if EG at this point. I don't think with the lead that they had, or with the lead that 100 Thieves had, EG could have come back from this position with the compositions they had. Ivan Rojo. That was interesting.